Hi, everybody, and welcome to another showcase session. I'm Michael Linky, General Manager of Membership here at the Australian Institute of Architects, and thanks very much for joining me on today's session. I'm really thrilled to spend the next few minutes with Weathertex, and joining me today is Andrew Savage. He's the Business Development Manager for the Architecture and Design sector at Weathertex, and he joins me now on the program. Andrew, great to have you with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Michael. It's terrific to be here.
Great, thanks so much. Look, first of all, Andrew, what is Weathertex and how's it made?
Thanks, Michael. I'm glad you asked. Well, Weathertex, as a lot of people will know, has been around for quite a while, and it's a cladding material which is generally used externally in both commercial and residential applications. And I'm showing a few different applications up on the screen at the moment. You'll also note that it's great for internal projects, such as lightings in residential and commercial projects. And we do have some commercial clients who use it in high impact areas. So things like school gymnasiums, also retail, shopping centres, service corridors, that type of thing. So, and we're also very excited to be, the preferred product for Hungry Jacks, who have a carbon neutral mandate from 2030, and they see the value in using Weathertex in order to achieve that very important environmental consideration. What I'm going to do now is just quickly take you through some slides which shows you how the product is manufactured here in Newcastle at Heatherbrae. Our factory's been around actually since the 1930s and originally making a hardboard product. Weathertex is a type of hardboard, but unlike earlier versions, Weathertex is used often externally. And we'll get into the different images to show you how the product's made shortly. So I've already mentioned that we're Australian owned and manufactured, both cladding, external cladding and internal lining solutions. Weathertex is completely natural as well. So it's 97% Australian hardwood fibre and 3% natural wax. There's nothing else in the product. And when we go through those slides shortly, Michael, to show you how it's made, you'll understand a little bit more about that. There's no adhesives, no resins, no formaldehyde, no silica, which is very important. So it's 100% safe. We talk about Weathertex having a better than zero carbon footprint, which means that more carbon is stored in the timber used to make Weathertex than is produced in its manufacture. And so our very large clients like Stockland Development, they love Weathertex for that reason. It gives them a very attractive and cost-effective cladding solution for their Class 1 townhouse developments, but there's virtually no impact on the environment whatsoever. It's lighter in weight and more durable than most fibre cement alternatives. Easy installation and standard woodworking tools only are required. Termite resistant. In the manufacturing process, we remove all the sugars and starches, and they're also the things that can break down over time. So Weathertex has a very, very long life as well. We have code mark certification across most of our product lines now, and that helps to streamline compliance for the architects out there and also certifiers, of course. We have third-party Global Green Tag sustainability certification so that you can rely on the claims that we're making around our products. We are competitively priced too. Weathertex, you'll pay no more compared to, for example, fibre cement, to get a product which is so much better for the environment. And we're readily available across Australia and indeed across the world now. We export to around 18 different countries, and Weathertex is a bit of an Australian export success story. And the biggest compliment we get, Michael, is when architects tell me that they've used it on their own home, and builders do the same. And often it's due to aesthetics and the unmatched sustainability at this entry-level price point. So that's a number of reasons, or a number of facts around Weathertex that make it quite unique. So in terms of manufacturing, what we do is we take timber fibre and we violently reduce it to very small particles. We mix it with a small amount of wax. We extrude it and we pressure cook it under extreme steam heat and high pressure. And this pressure cooking process was actually invented, or stumbled upon, to be honest, by CSR when they owned our company in the 1960s. And the steam process reactivates a naturally occurring chemical in timber called lignin, and lignin is what holds trees together. And so there's no need for any binders or adhesives or any other additives to the material at all in terms of making it a cohesive product. So yeah, that's basically what Weathertex is, and how it's made. And I've given you some details on how it's what makes it unique as well compared with other products.
That's great, Andrew. Thank you very much. Tell us a little bit about the Weathertex range.
All right. Well, there's 5 different product ranges, and I'll quickly go through each of them. Broadly, there's 2 product categories. We have our natural Weathertex, which is not primed, and this is a very unique product. There's no other product like this on the market, which offers an unprimed, reconstituted hardwood or hardboard material. And within that natural category, we have self-lock weatherboards, and we're showing 3 profiles from the self-lock range here. EcoGroove is a horizontal profile weatherboard. We have here showing a 150 groove center, a 75 millimeter groove center in the EcoGroove, or it's actually quite a wide 12 millimeter high horizontal groove. And then we also offer a 150 groove center with a V groove. And these panels are 300 millimeters high and 3660 wide. And here's some examples here where we see some of the EcoGroove used in various applications, including a curved wall there you'll see on the left-hand side image. This particular product can cope with curves of a minimum 2.5 meter radius, still using our standard installation details and still achieving all of the weatherproof requirements according to the Australian standards. So there's actually a combination of products used here on these images, but you get a bit of an idea of how you can stain the natural product to give it that natural timber appearance. Also in the natural category, we have our Weathergroove natural architectural panels. And these panels are 3660 tall, and they're around about 1200 millimeters wide. And you can see here that there's various groove center spacings. These vertical grooves are actually like if you like, a vertical version of the horizontal grooves we just saw in the self-lock weatherboards. And we offer them at 75 millimeter spacings, 150, 300 and 1200 millimeters. The 1200 really just has an express join at either side of the panel. And then we have a lovely new product, which we see at the top left-hand side of the screen, which is called Weathergroove Fusion. And it actually has a random groove arrangement, a little bit mid-century modern, a little bit retro, a little bit Brady Bunch, to be honest, but it's been very, very popular with our A&D clients because of that random groove arrangement. And I've already mentioned that you can stain Weathergroove, or you can allow it to fade. And the image that we see on the left-hand side of the screen now shows our Weathergroove Natural, without any stain applied to it whatsoever. And it eventually goes from that sort of walnut brown color that we saw in the previous slide to this silver gray color within the space of around, say, 2 to 5 years, depending on the amount of UV exposure. The caveat here is your southern facade will obviously fade at a slower rate than your north and western facades. But the good thing about the product is you don't need any staining. There's no maintenance required. It still has a 10-year warranty against rotting, cracking or splitting, even when unstained or unfinished. And there's no other natural timber product on the market that provides a warranty anywhere near that. I actually don't know of any other natural timber product on the market that will provide any sort of warranty if it's unfinished. So yeah, it's a really versatile product, the natural. Here we have another example of the Weathergroove Natural 300, and they've applied a black butt batten over the grooves to create a very traditional barn design. And you'll even note that the barn doors and the other timber here hasn't been finished. And this particular project, by now, it's probably about 4 years old, will have completely silvered off and will not require any ongoing maintenance. Here we see Weathergroove Natural 75 stained to a very dark color and used as an internal lining in this real estate fit out. And I think you'll agree it looks quite stunning. And then once we go beyond the natural category, we go into our primed category of products. And within the primed category of products, we have 3 different types of weatherboards and 2 different types of panels. And you'll see some crossover here as well. Classic is where we started in the early 1960s. And these are if you like, a simple plank, and it's available in 3 different profiles. And you'll see here where I'm indicating here this section elevation, we have overlapping profile detail. So this gives you a very traditional kind of, overlapping traditional weatherboard look. So here we see classic, great for Hampton style design if your clients want to go this way. And then we also have within the classic range a range of shingles, which really look terrific with the right type of architecture. We have them in natural as well as smooth, primed and natural. And here's a very typical application within a Hampton style home where they've used the smooth shingle and painted it. I have actually also seen examples of projects where they've used the shingles around the entire facade of the building, and it looks quite striking. The next product we're going to look at from the 3 primed weatherboards is called Prime Lock. And it's very, very similar to the classic in that it's an overlapping detail, as we see from the section elevation. But this features a concealed fixing, which is very clever. And without going into too much detail, basically you don't see the fixings at all. And we have 5 different profiles in this range as well. And we even offer a profile which is slightly chamfered, like you see in this image here, so that you will get a deeper shadow line. All Weathertex products are 9.5 millimeters thick, but the chamfer on this particular profile gives you a 13 millimeter thick shadow line. And here it is here, it's called Prime Lock Shadow Wood. And you'll note that you don't really read the chamfer. In some very late afternoon sun, you might pick it up, but as you can see here, it just looks like a cohesively 13 millimeter thick board. Here's a Prime Lock Smooth 200, very simple, and lends itself, I guess, to more modern design. And then we get into the self-lock range. This is our 3rd type of primed weatherboard. And you'll notice here on the section elevation that these planks actually interlock, they don't overlap. And so this is far more modern in approach. You probably wouldn't use this on a Hampton style, but you'd certainly use it on more modern styles. We've just released this new 75 millimeter profile, and you can see here that we have these horizontal machine grooves at 75 millimeter centers to give the impression of 4 different boards in the one plank. So it's very quick and easy to install, and you can use these, of course, the entire range can be used internally, but this shows the new 75 millimeter Eco Groove self-lock plank used internally here. It comes in the natural as well, which we saw earlier. And here's a few examples of the self-lock. And you'll note that most of these are quite modern in terms of the architectural design compared to the earlier examples we showed you, which were more traditional with those overlapping planks. Of course, internal linings, and this is a combination of a self-lock Eco Groove Smooth and just a lovely white paint finish. And here we have 1, 2, 3 different products all used together to create quite a bit of architectural interest. And this particular project won a design prize up in Queensland and has been very popular development. Internal linings again, and we see the V-Groove Natural here used at a pub not far from where I live at Lake Macquarie. And most people would look at that and say that's natural timber. It is, Weathertex is natural timber, but in this case it's a reconstituted hardwood, but most people wouldn't be able to tell. Now we finish with planks and we go into our panels, and this is probably the most popular range of products with our architects and designers, and this is the Weathergroove range of panels. And you can see here that in addition to the natural versions that we looked at earlier, we've got another 10 primed versions of Weathergroove, and it comes in 3 different surface treatments. We have smooth, we have woodsman, and we have rough sawn. The woodsman is a primed version of the natural that we saw earlier, the unprimed product, and the smooth is obviously smooth, and the rough sawn is a slightly different texture again. So with this particular range, we've got our groove centers at 75, 150, 300, 600 and 1200 millimeter centers. We've also got the Fusion Smooth here, which I think looks terrific. And these panels are 1200 wide, and they range in heights from 2440, 2745 and up to 3660. Not all profiles are available in all heights, so check the product catalog for that. But it is, I think, our most popular product with the A&D sector, and very well resolved in terms of the accessories that come with all of our products. This is the Weathergroup Fusion, which we've mentioned, coming in the smooth as well as the natural, and that has that mid-century look with the random groove separations, which you can see down here. And here is an example to show you what the random groove arrangement looks like with the Weathergroup Fusion, and it's quite an interesting product, I think, and a little bit mid. So here we have an example of what you can do with Weathertex products, even on very, very high-end architectural projects. And here we see the Weathergroove Woodsman. So this is the primed version of our natural Weathergroove with 150mm vertical, the vertical grooves at 150mm centers, painted in a very dark color. You can paint Weathertex black, charcoal, any color you like. There's no limitation that you sometimes get with other types of timber materials, because Weathertex is very stable. When those sugars and starches are removed, you can paint it any color you like. But here we see an example of Weathertex, which is not an expensive product, used on a very high-end home, and I think you'll agree that it looks amazing. Here's another example of one of my favorite homes. This is a $10 million house over in Castle Crag. I say 10 million, I'm assuming, based on land values these days and so on. But again, they've used Weathertex as an entry-level product in terms of cost, but certainly a high-end product in terms of impact, and just painted it, again, quite a nice charcoal color. And I think you'll agree that the house looks stunning, and Castle Peak Architects did an amazing job with this place. Here we have Weathergroove Rough Sawn. So this is one of the 3 different profiles that we offer in terms of the finish of the profile. And Weathergroove, as a standard installation, can cope with a minimum radius curves of 8 meters. There are other ways that you can achieve tighter radius curves with this product, and the best thing to do is to talk to Weathertex and get advice. But in this case, we've got a very gentle curve, and so it's just standard installation details, and you still get the full benefit of the Codemark certified performance in terms of weatherproofing and so on. And then finally, we have our Rubix architectural panel. It's another primed product, and Rubix comes in 2 sizes, in 1200 by 1200 and 1200 by 900 formats. And the actual panels themselves are machined to slide together, a bit like a tongue and groove arrangement. And as a result, it's a very economical system. And I mentioned earlier that some of our panels are available in 2440 and 2745 heights. So everything that comes out of the factory is around 3700. What do we do with the offcuts? Well, we make Rubix, because we don't like to waste anything at Weathertex. And Rubix in and of itself has become a very popular product. The image on the left shows Rubix 12 by 12, painted white and contrasted with a Weathergroove 150 Rough Sawn painted grey. And I think you'll agree it's a very nice combination of the different profiles, different colours. And here we see a Weathergroove Smooth 150 combined with the Rubix 12 by 900, again with different paint colours to contrast the material. So it's very cost effective. You start at the middle, work your way out to the edges, dock the edges, and add a corner accessory, and you're done. A few more examples of Rubix, and we often see Rubix combined with other profiles to create a bit of contrast and interest, like we see here. And this was a fit out for Jackson Tees Architects in Newcastle, using the 12 by 900 Rubix as a room divider. I've mentioned Weathertex accessories, but all Weathertex products are designed to be complemented by a range of accessories which simplify installation and give you some nice detailing as well. The accessories, I think, work best with our primed and painted product, because the accessory is also painted to match the cladding, and it tends to become seamless and disappears. But you can use the accessories with the natural products as well if you wish. But there are other ways of joining and flashing our natural products without having to use aluminium trims.
Thanks, Andrew. There's some beautiful imagery in there and some great inspiration for our architect members for sure. Look, tell me, does Weathertex have third-party accreditation, especially around environmental claims and compliance in relation to the National Construction Code?
It sure does. Product transparency is very important to us at Weathertex, and it's one of the things that makes us unique, especially at the entry level of the market in terms of cost of our products. Our managing director, Jason O'Hagan, when he joined the company about 8 or 9 years ago, he introduced a number of initiatives, and one of them was working with Global Green Tag. A lot of your members will be familiar with Global Green Tag, and they are a third-party organisation who look at manufacturers' claims around the environment and then give it a big tick, hopefully, and also work with the manufacturers to make sure that their products are being as good as they can be in terms of environmental outcomes. So we are very proud to be the first manufacturer to receive Platinum Global Green Tag accreditation on our natural range of products, and we have Gold accreditation on our primed range. They both achieved really well, and Gold is also still a really high score. The reason why the prime products achieve Gold, not Platinum, is simply because the primers that are used, that are a water-based acrylic primer, they do off-gas slightly when they're being manufactured and applied, but by the time the primer is applied to the product and it's cured and sent out to the site, it's completely stable. So even Gold is an excellent response or result, and we're very, very proud that all of our products have that. Code Mark, you mentioned about certification. Code Mark, as many of your members will be aware, is a shorthand summary of all of the standards that products meet within, generally speaking, with our products, it'll be Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the National Construction Code. And so 4 out of our 5 product ranges have Code Mark certification. The Rubik's range is generally more used only in domestic applications. So we haven't code marked Rubik's at this stage, but our 3 weatherboards and our weather groove, again, the one that's I'm standing in front of, if you like, is weather groove. They have code mark certification, and it will really assist your members in terms of specifying and selecting products which are fully conforming and complying with the minimum standards around their projects, and it'll also help certifiers to confirm that sort of information. Here's something that Stockland commissioned a little while ago, probably about 18 months ago now, with a company called Corio, and it's a circular economy survey. And circularity is all about creating long-lasting products which don't deplete finite resources and do not create toxic byproducts or pollution, and minimize waste in supply chain and manufacturing processes. So we were really proud to score 86%, which as a manufacturer is outstanding. We are often cited as Stockland's and Corio's sort of poster child in terms of our circular economy credentials, and nothing gets wasted at Weathertex. We have that better than zero carbon footprint for our products, so there's more carbon stored in the timber used to make Weathertex than is produced in its manufacture. We recycle our water, and then it gets filtered and goes back into the water table at the end of the 14th cycle, and then filters down through the ground, feeding the trees with the sawdust that's inside it on the way, and then gets used again. So that system has been monitored by Hunter Water since the 1970s, and gets a very big tick. So I'm very proud to be working with a company that takes the environment as seriously as Weathertex does. And the other important thing is you're not paying any more for Weathertex. It is still very price competitive in terms of other similar products on the market. So here's an example of a client who was looking for an environmentally friendly product for their 1,000th restaurant in Australia. Wow, 1,000 McDonald's. And this is down in Victoria, and it features weather groove, vertically grooved panels and self-lock horizontally grooved weatherboards. And we're hoping that McDonald's will take Weathertex on now as a standard product. This was only completed last year, this project, And yeah, it's terrific to be involved in projects with some of these major outlets.
So Andrew, finally, what resources can Weathertex offer customers in the architectural and design field?
Thanks, Michael. Well, there's a lot, and I've tried to get most of it summarised into one slide. There's a lot of information here. So if you go to weathertex.com.au, you will find product information under the product section. Under technical support, you'll find all sorts of information, including construction details. We've got CAD files there as well, and we've recently introduced the Revit virtual BIM showroom. So I'm not a CAD operator, but from what I understand how this works is you walk into a virtual showroom, you choose the Weathertex profile that you want to use on your project, you grab the wall system as well, and then you basically drag and drop these into your 3D models and fly-throughs and your CAD files, and everything's populated. And there's a lot of information in there as well, including things like carbon footprint, bushfire attack level rating, FRLs, all the sort of information that you would need potentially for your projects is included in those files. Now, we only have it for Revit right now, but by June this year, we will also have it for the ArchiCAD users out there as well. And look, I know that there's people that use other types of programs as well in their drawing and design, and I'm hopeful that we will be able to address some of those in future as well. But Revit, I believe, has the lion's share of the drafting market, or the CAD market, I should say, and ArchiCAD probably has the rest. So we will have ArchiCAD later this year. Our brochures and other hard copy material you can also download as PDFs. There's a whole lot of information around certification, including CodeMark, and also our environmental credentials. There's a specification tool as well, which is quite handy if people are wanting to produce a written specification to go into their documentation. And that comes out as a Word document too, which you can just copy and paste and edit as you like. I'm also very happy to write specifications for people as well, as are my colleagues in the other states. There's the painting and staining specification information as well, which is really important. We have project case studies. We have a project image gallery where you can search for different profiles and different applications, and you can also request samples. If you need any support outside of what the website offers you, you can just get in touch with our customer service team via the email and phone number shown there. We also do CPD workshops, which we offer in-house to larger firms. And we also at the moment are offering these online between now and June 30 for people who would like to top up their CPD points. And we do this every year, sort of around March, April, May, June. We offer our however many CPDs we have at the time, at least on 2 or 3 occasions where people can register and log in at the time and get their points, and also learn about some very interesting topics as well. We also have our Webinex talks. This is something we started during COVID, and we continue to do so, but not as frequently as we did during the lockdowns. And they're industry-related discussions, things like tiny homes, passive house design, women in construction, modular construction. There's a whole bunch of different topics, and they're available on demand via our website, and I believe also via your podcast providers. And then in terms of the brochures that we offer, we have our product catalogue, which has recently been updated to reflect the latest products. The installation manual, which we're actually breaking down now because of CodeMark. We're breaking it down into the individual products. That's part of CodeMark's requirement. We have our Design Trends magazine, and the 2022 edition has just been released, and it's the best of the 3 we've done so far. It's got some fabulous examples, and that's designed as an inspirational magazine as opposed to being products related. It's very projects related, and you'll get some great ideas. And then we've also got the Get the Look bulletins, which will show you how to get the look around battening, for instance. We saw that farm shed earlier, which showed battens. And there's various other things where we give you the look, and then we give you the technical way of achieving that. So it's great for specifiers and also great for builders. We've talked about the Revit showroom, a little bit more information there, but there is a Revit video tutorial as well, which you can click on the link under weathertex.com.au, technical pull down, BIM CAD files, click on the Revit page, and then you'll be able to have a look at the video, and it'll talk you through how that works. And as I said, the ArchiCAD version will be available a bit later on this year. Our Design Trends magazine I've mentioned as well, and you can see by some of the images shown there, it's quite sensational, has some great project examples. And we've talked about the podcast. These are some of the topics. You can listen to them on demand or via podcast via our website. And I've also mentioned our formal CPD training. So I think that just about sums everything up, Michael.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Andrew. And for those architects out there who are keen to find out more, of course, don't hesitate to go to weathertex.com.au. Nice and easy, weathertex.com.au. So that is it for today's showcase session. Thanks very much to Andrew Savage, the Business Development Manager for the Architectural and Design sector at Weathertex. Thanks very much for joining us, Andrew. Great to have you with us.
It was a pleasure, Michael, and thanks for having me.
No worries at all. So I hope you have found that showcase session very informative. And of course, details relating to weathertex.com.au are below on this link. So do feel free to click on those and find out a little bit more about the Weathertex range. Thanks for joining me. As always, I'm Michael Linke here at the Institute of Architects. Thanks for joining me on this showcase session. Look forward to seeing you very soon at a future showcase session. Thanks. Cheers.